I'm sure people will immediately pronounce on these announcements and say they either go too far or they don't go far enough. But I hope people will now, judge us by the actions and the way we enforce these policies. They're pretty unprecedented, and they're unprecedented because we're living in unprecedented times. This election is like no other, at a time like no other, and the range of measures we've set out today, from limiting the number of messages you can forward on Messenger to labeling posts from candidates where they prematurely declare victory, or removing content which says that you'll get COVID if you vote in a particular way, and adding much more prominent and sort of aggressive labels, if I can put it like that, on posts that seek to delegitimize the whole election. These are big changes. On the ads that you talked about, the reason why we're doing this in the last week is that in the last week there isn't just time for the back and forth. One candidate says one thing, then the other candidate can reply, and you get the scrutiny that you want to in open democracy. The reason we're putting these guardrails in for the last week is because if someone runs an ad at the last minute, which is either very misleading, very polarizing, and so on, their opponents and the media, you and the media, don't have time to really scrutinize and answer back. And that's why we've confined these guardrails, important though they are, to the last week of the campaign.
Though, as Wilfred said, it's pretty easy to find some loopholes here. And the fact that you're not doing widespread fact-checking on political ads does raise the question about whether this is just a PR stunt.
No, it's not a PR stunt. It's real. It means that no one can run new political ads for the last crucial 7 days in a campaign. That is not a PR stunt. That is a very real constraint on what political ads can be run and what political ads you will see on your newsfeed. Look, almost no one, I don't think any major Silicon Valley company fact checks what politicians say about each other, because what politicians say about themselves, about each other, is always full of exaggeration, caricature, hand-picked selective facts and so on. And the idea that a private company sitting in Silicon Valley should be the sort of sole arbiter of when caricature and exaggeration becomes something which is simply not true is something that no one has tried, because it's almost impossible, I suspect, to do it. What we are, however, ensuring is a huge level of transparency. All these ads go into an ads library, which is far more transparent than political ads that are run on television or radio or in the printed press, where you can see who's paid for a political ad, who's targeted, when they're running it, all the different variants of the political ads. So we believe that mixture of extreme transparency with this hard limit that new ads cannot be produced for a week up till election day, hopefully will mean that the ads do what they're supposed to, which is allow politicians to communicate to voters, get the voters to vote in the first place, but avoid an ad being run at the very last minute in a way that sort of hijacks the final stages of the campaign.
I think the bigger issue here, what I struggle with, and I think a lot of people do question, is that this isn't necessarily an ad problem. The misinformation tackling that you guys have been trying to do, it still seems pretty widespread, whether it's factual misinformation about the coronavirus and health and vaccines, whether it's white supremacy pages, whether it's militia pages with calls to arms. These are still posts by your users that are flagged many times too late and that still get passed around to millions, if not billions, of people. And it just feels like your policies are very piecemeal and very reactionary to this whole issue of misinformation.
Well, I don't think they're quite as piecemeal or as sort of small scale as you seem to imply. I mean, we've taken, since we announced a couple of weeks ago the measures we're taking against QAnon and other sort of militia groups, we've taken thousands of pages down. We've removed around 200, or I think over 200 white supremacist groups over the last period of time. We have removed or labeled millions of items of content related to coronavirus, as well as, by the way, directing over 2 billion people around the world to authoritative information on coronavirus. Something, by the way, we're mimicking through a voter information center, which you will see on Instagram and Facebook pretty well every day at the top of your feed, providing people with reliable information. But of course, I accept to you, on a platform where I think on an average day you have over 115 billion messages, yes, I totally accept that sometimes we don't react fast enough on an individual piece of content. We're getting better and better using machine learning and AI systems to do so. But I think to say that it's piecemeal or not ambitious, I think would be an unfair characterization of what Facebook is doing right now.